Ratchet and Clank.
The idea of a Ratchet and Clank theatrical film in 2016 seems like too little too late. The series debuted in 2002, and I would make the argument that they probably hit peak relevancy in 2007. Growing up in this time frame, I always thought that a feature-length film would make a lot of sense. Sure, the series' characters look rather unpleasant, and perhaps not very memorable, but Ratchet and Clank themselves sure were marketable. They are a likable team that complemented each other's personality, and the series' obsession with colorful guns and gadgets seemed like something a lot of kids could buy into. Then the series left the cultural zeitgeist of the general public and of the gaming community. A deluge of almost yearly game releases burned audiences and the franchise out. Now, in 2016, at a time where the series has been dormant for a few years, relaunching it with a theatrical film and reimagining of the game that started it all seemed like a multimedia formula for success. While this tie-in game turned out to be a brilliant and possibly the best entry in the series, this film feels like a half-measure effort to revitalize the franchise and expand its reach. Ratchet and Clank is a 3D animated film created by Rainmaker Animation, which is strange considering that Sony, the property holders, own a prolific animation studio and chose not to have them take care of this project. The film follows a New Hope-esque story structure. Ratchet, a furry cat-like creature known as a Lombax, is a starry-eyed kid who feels like he is destined for greater things but is stuck on a nowhere planet in his solar system working as a mechanic. Through Clank, a small toaster-looking robot, he learns of a renegade species and their leader who are invading planets in order to build a new home world for their kind. Together they meet with a galactic police force and attempt to stop this invading threat. It isn't incredibly complex, and plenty of parallels can be drawn between it and classic sci-fi. The journey to becoming heroes has very little surprises, but it is made charming thanks to returning Ratchet and Clank voice actors James Arnold Taylor and David Kaye. Their characters make a great pair, their friendship is heartening and even adorable, but their transition into film has made their relationship a bit less interesting. Ratchet and Clank's growth as a duo worked so well in their games because they had such differing personalities. Ratchet was aggressive and thick-headed, a personality found in many Western mascot platformers at the time, while Clank was more of a contained and logical thinking sort of a character. There are bits of this in the film, albeit severely muted in comparison, where once differences that caused conflict between the two are now small disagreements in a friendship that is born almost immediately. It is a deep contrast from their original adventure, where their relationship genuinely grew throughout. Even if Ratchet and Clank aren't as interesting as one would hope, they are still better than their supporting cast. Rosario Dawson, Paul Giamatti, John Goodman, Sylvester Stallone, and Bella Thorne received top billing and significant roles in the film. No character they play really stands out. At best, a character like Dawson's Ilaris, a sort of minor companion to Clank, can be endearing but not boisterous. At worst, you have Giamatti's Chairman Drek, the leader of the invading alien force, who plays a loud, clumsy, and desperate for a laugh villain. This returning character from the game series is portrayed as an incredibly dim-witted but powerful leader. He is often used to deliver a lot of the film's humor, and not much about him works. The change in the character from a threatening and somewhat foolish villain found in the source material to an absolute fool in the film is questionable. The humor he delivers is far too simple for a feature-length film, and it really undermines the audience. A lot of the humor throughout the film is like this, but it is worse when it comes from this character. Giamatti is all over the place with this performance. His infliction and delivery is hilariously over the top, even for a cartoon character. I must admit that it's kind of a glorious sight, but it's more annoying than unintentionally entertaining. Visually, Ratchet & Clank is a bit more interesting. Even though characters lack detail and the world feels rather empty, it still has some of that flair that made the series worthy of a theatrical film. Locations are colorful, Ratchet's face is filled with expression, and action looks great when it's fast-paced. That emptiness is very noticeable, though. There are plenty of times where the same background characters will fill in multiple scenes to give the illusion of density. It ultimately winds up looking less animated and lively than the film's video game tie-in, but what is here is serviceable. It's worth noting that there are some neat visual Easter eggs for fans of the series, although I can't shake the feeling that they are placed here to trick the audience into thinking that this is the film Ratchet and Clank deserve. Fans of the series might also be disappointed to find out that almost none of the series' inventive and wonderfully imaginative weaponry is in the film, a massive missed opportunity. A half-step attempt at making a Ratchet and Clank film in 2016 does nothing for new audiences and for fans who grew up with the franchise. It needed to exceed expectations, to have heart, and to be a celebration of a series that is over a decade old, something that the series creators did with the game that accompanies the film. This movie might have been more relevant in the first half of 2000, but now it is too shallow to be great fanservice and far too unremarkable for a new audience. Regardless, I am grateful that its existence led to the stellar video game tie-in and that some sort of Ratchet and Clank movie exists, if only because it panders to my childhood nostalgia.